The important aspect of STPF, the Jonas Dhaga, as mentioned, that it is the integration of local industry into a global value chain. This is another important aspect which we should consider. And basically, then there is very important area of this export-led growth by taking into consideration of the use of modern technology. So basically, I also discussed this component, and is very specialized for our this federal SEZ, which will be located in Islamabad. And these are the hallmark of our coming trade policy. He also mentioned the important role of innovation. And basically the role of the stakeholders, basically especially the business community, to part of that. And basically again the focus will be the export-led foreign investment in the country. And last but not the least, the government is committed to the sector-specific. This is very important, that we should have the sector-specific intervention to increase the trade and prioritizing integration of small and medium enterprises. So after that I start. So basically my entire presentation will be revolving around that, starting from this Franklin saying that no nation was ever ruined by trade. So trade is not the zero-sum game, as that was considered at the mercantilist time. So this is basically an opportunity. If we avail, we will get. So data speak themselves. So I basically provided this data from the Harvard Atlas. Basically, the main focus is basically to see the major exports partners and the major exports as well as imports partners and our major imports. So if we look at the data, the almost 80%, or more than 80% of our exports are concentrated on main three areas: the textile, the furniture, the foods, wood and minerals. Similarly, on the import side, if we see that we have the vegetables, the minerals, trade and furniture, machinery, these are our main sectors. And when we focus on the trade patterns in terms of the partners, our major trade partners are the USA, the China, the Germany, and if you include the European Union and USA, these are the mostly our trade partners. And on the import side, the China is our leading importing country, followed by the UAE. So the more we focus that in terms of imports, we are importing this more than 75% from Asia, and then Europe, and followed by the United States of America. On the export side, we are mostly exporting our goods to Europe and GSP Plus, and we are taking these opportunities. And Asia, and mostly we are basically exporting to our Far East Asian countries. So basically the main area which we focus that when the economic hegemony is changing from west to east, and if we will not diversify our export both in terms of areas and the products, then what will be our future? So basically what these speakers have already discussed so much about these things. These are our areas of concern, that we don't have our diversified exports in terms of areas and both in terms of products. We have not the high value addition. Dr. Ishad and other have also mentioned that. Another issue is the competitiveness. There are so many factors of this competitiveness. Some are the domestic ones, some are the foreign ones. Basically, the most important on the macro side, basically the issue of the real effective exchange rate and the overvaluation of this exchange rate. But other things are the high cost of production, our low productivity, which is very important. That's why I have taken this very closely related index of GCI, the Global Competitive Index, which is basically closely related with export performance of every country. If we look at the data, what is the place of Pakistan? The Pakistan basically is on the 122 out of 139 countries. So basically, one area of concern is ease of doing business, and other area I should say that this is GCI. as the BOI is working hard on the various component of this ease of doing business indicator, we should also focus the main areas where we are lacking. So if you see that in the important factors in this index are the institutions, infrastructure, market size, innovations and technology. And if we see, the Pakistan is low ranking on the area, especially in health, education, goods, labor market efficiency, and technological readiness. These are the area where we should focus more, because we are lagging behind in these areas. So what's CPEC's long term? Basically, the third pillar in this cooperation is about the trade and the industrial parks. So these two are interrelated. So the focus on this CPEC long-term plan includes so many areas like the agriculture, which normally consider that it is not taken into consideration in CPEC. It is also one of the important component in the long-term plan. Another area is this trade promotion and trade facilitation. So one thing, through this 1+4 portfolio, we will be addressing so many issues, and one is the connecting Pakistan's different nodal cities to the Chinese nodal cities. So there are basically 11 cities of Pakistan which will be channeled to the trade through CPEC route, and 8 are in the China. The CPEC has a special focus on the promoting quality, value addition, competitiveness, efficiency of textile products, and emphasis on the expanding the textile and the garments industry, and the supply of value-added product for the export. So basically, we can see that this long-term plan is in line with our this strategic trade policy framework. The focus on development and operations of priority SEZs. These are the 9 SEZs, and one in each province, and 2 is of the federal government. One is located in Karachi, and one is will be in the Islamabad. The focus and the effort will be on the export promotion and the processing to boost trade with through the East Asian, West Asian, and South Asian region. So we will be well connected after this, addressing the issues of the transport infrastructure. The trade facilitation is another important area. It provides trade facilitation with essential through regional connectivity, expanding trade logistics, and by providing business to business links, investment friendly environment that would enhance bilateral and multilateral trade. Then another important thing is there will be the great advantage of this development of Gwadar, and we have also Karachi as well. So the taking the advantage of ports and establishing logistic transportation, the trade will be facilitated. The CPEC special support to customs service among the belt also is a step towards the trade facilitation. So in the result of increased connectivity through developed infrastructure and rail and road fiber optics, the transaction costs are minimized. The main focus is on the trade with the regional countries, where after the CPEC there will be a great potential, because we will be connecting from Punjab to Afghanistan, and where we can link to other Central Asian republics. So countries these possess a good market for Pakistani's products. Much of the potential of economic cooperation with the region has remained untapped due to Afghan war, and the trade potential with cars exists due to geographic location, as these countries are near to Pakistan and China, and Pakistan have the ECO membership and the strategic, political and economic trade relationship with these countries. And under CPEC now there is opportunity, the new trade routes can be used to new trade agreements with Afghanistan, and we can, I will try to finish in 5 minutes. My recommendations are mostly on these main pillars which has been addressed not only in the CPEC but in this upcoming strategic trade policy framework. The main thing which has been also focused, that there should be a proper evidence-based policy, and we have to explore the target markets and the new market where we have the demand, and in-depth demand analysis is important, because now the supply side has been addressing in terms of infrastructure, energy. Now the second side is the demand, because we have to see that in Pakistan most of the times we think that we are lacking in supply, but most of the time we are lacking in demand. we say that our education supply is low. No, we also don't have the demand for education as well. So similar picture is for other things. Important thing is the trade diplomacy, and we have basically seen that with a few months effort of the Commerce Ministry, we have increased seen the increase in exports. So this is very important area we must to focus on, and the market access not only in terms of this hardware but also the software side. Basically, the essential requirement to promote export and sound trade partnerships for demand analysis and market access is prerequisite. I've already discussed this evidence-based policy is really important rather than the policy under one roof. So it's very good. We should have the consultation with the top business leaders, and then the sector-specific policy is important. The one general policy will not be benefiting us. We should have the separate policy, which I already mentioned in this coming policy. Of course, the services sector has a lot of potential. Our banking sector, IT sector, we have a good graduates, and we have the footprints. We can go there, and we can work on the GCI improvement, especially these 4 areas which I have mentioned. We have to focus that. And last but not least, the most important one is implementation, which is really important. So basically there are 4 or 5 areas which we must consider in each and everything. One is the ownership, second is consultation, participation, coordination, integration, and implementation. Thanks.
Thank you so much.